What is going on, YouTube? Bringing you a brand new video today, second upload of the day. We will be taking a look at this weekend's fixtures and giving our score predictions of what we expect to happen. I'm not going to be giving a full tactical breakdown of all these teams because I'm not going to pretend like I watch all these teams. However, I might go on a little bit of a tangent with some of them, just giving my updated opinion on where they are as a club in the league and their situation. So expect that for teams like Tottenham, expect that for teams like Liverpool, expect that for teams like West Brom, since they got their new manager. But anyways, without any further ado, let's get into it. First game of the weekend, Crystal Palace versus Liverpool this afternoon, very soon after this upload. I expect Liverpool to take that 2-0 against Crystal Palace. I expect them to be clinical and keep a clean sheet. However, I wouldn't be shocked if Crystal Palace did pull an upset. It is just one of those fixtures on the list. I just think Liverpool are too good at the moment. They're sat top of the table. They look very, very comfortable. And although it is only a 3-point gap at the moment between them and Spurs, I think it will grow. So that's that. I'm not going to talk too much about that. Man City versus Southampton. Southampton are a team that I think is slowly dipping out of form and dropping their levels. At some point in the Premier League, albeit for 2 hours, they were on top of the table, and now they are in third, which is not bad, and it's been a magnificent season. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like Southampton are starting to drop off, and eventually, I think by January, we will see their real position and not the pseudo position based on a good start in the league. I think the table will start to fix itself. Nevertheless, I don't think Manchester City have the stardust and the magic and the quality they once had under Pep Guardiola. They look very flat. They don't really create much with their possession. They seem like sideways FC nowadays, and they just arc outside people's boxes. And I don't know, something is definitely missing. So if Kevin De Bruyne doesn't have a good game, it's a yikes for Man City in my opinion. And I can see a 2-2 draw written all over this. So that's what I'm going with. Everton versus Arsenal. Interesting fixture, and Arsenal fans will be feeling like everything that could possibly go wrong is going wrong, from a red card to the fact that they have an inexperienced manager at the helm who does not have the skill set to survive a relegation battle. It is all going wrong at Arsenal Football Club, but at least they ended their winless or their loss streak, at least they ended their loss streak with a draw. Still winless in I think 2 months in the Premier League since they beat United. So crazy stuff for Arsenal. And I think you can definitely expect Everton to win this game. I think at best Arsenal will get a draw, but for the sake of not sitting on the fence, I'm going to go with an Everton win, 2-1. I don't think Arsenal will create nearly enough chances to impose themselves on the game and assert a level of dominance required to win against Everton. And I think Everton will be in it from minute 1 till minute 90. I think it's going to be a very cagey game though, because Arsenal defend with 10 men. So yeah, 2-1 though. 2-1 to Everton is what I'm going with. Fulham versus Newcastle. This is an interesting one. Not going to spend too much time on it. I believe Newcastle are in 14th on the table. Actually, let me check and stop being a fraud. Yes, they are 14th with 17 points, and Fulham have 9 points, sat in 18th. So you've got a team that's in the relegation zone and a team that could potentially be fighting relegation at some point further down the season, playing against each other. I think Newcastle, it's easy for me to sit here and say Newcastle will win this one, but I don't know. This has a weird vibe about it. I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think Newcastle will probably take the lead, and Fulham will probably get a penalty or a lucky goal of some sort. They do play an interesting brand of football, I think. I haven't watched a lot of them, but when I have watched them, they don't seem like your typical relegation team that sits back. They seem like the type of team that wants to play forward. And that seems to be a common theme amongst the bottom teams, actually, if I'm being honest. When you look at your Brightons, when you look at your Leeds Uniteds, when you look at your Crystal Palaces, they all seem to be teams that, albeit well organized and defensive when they need to be, they do seem to want to play against the big sides, and even against sides that are around the similar part of the table. Whereas back in the day, sitting back was pretty much a thing, under Tony Pulis, Big Sam, and all these other managers, the dons of the relegation battles. You know who they are if you've been watching the Premier League long enough. It feels like that's kind of shifted. So it will be interesting to see what happens with these teams. Moving on, Brighton versus Sheffield. I think Brighton will win this game 3-0. I think Sheffield are awful, and I think Brighton aren't as awful as Sheffield. It's as simple as that. I think Brighton play a better brand of football. Brighton don't look cagey. Brighton can turn up on their day, and they've been with their manager so long that I think they're starting to find more or less their level in the Premier League, to be honest. I think they're starting to become a stable candidate in the Premier League. I don't know what the ambition of this club is. I don't know where they plan to go in the next few seasons, but at the moment, they just seem like a steady mid-table club. And hey, some people will say that's pretty good for Brighton, considering they only got promoted just a few years ago and nobody believed that they would stay up. So it is what it is. Moving on to one of the bigger games of the weekend, one of the title race candidates in Tottenham Hotspurs, against Leicester City. Now, this is an interesting game. I can see a draw written all over this game. I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw. Simply because I don't think Tottenham are at the levels that they want to be recently. I think they still are a good team, don't get me wrong. Kane and Son, still absolutely magnificent, don't get me wrong. I just think they're starting to drop off. And I just think Jose Mourinho is starting to get... I think Tottenham fans with Jose Mourinho are starting to get brought down to earth with the defensive football. I think it's becoming more and more of a consistent feature. I think Jose has got the start he's wanted. Now he will go back to his pragmatic style of football. Classic Jose Mourinho. Start off playing fast flow attacking football. And then once you've got a steady league position, start to drop off and play the safe, steady, counter-attacking, hit teams on the break, take off your best players at halftime if you're up, etc., etc. Not talking bad about the dude. I'm just saying that's what I've observed of them, because against a Liverpool fan, that was fossil football at its finest, archaic, dinosaur-esque type stuff, fam. But there'll be Tottenham fans out there absolutely cringing at the screen right now. But listen, I don't watch a team that often, and when I do, they play very boring football. So it is what it is. I think it will be 2-2. I think Leicester are all right at the moment. I think I quite like Leicester under Brendan Rodgers, and I think they are building something that is genuinely respectable, because they did obviously have that season where they completely fell off after winning the league title, and it looked like they would be one of those irrelevant clubs. But they seem like a steady club for European competition, and they seem to be edging closer and closer to top 4 football every single season and becoming a steady top 4 candidate. So that's all I've got to say about them. Man United versus Leeds, I realized I was a fraud. I didn't give a score prediction in my preview when I did it earlier this morning. If you haven't checked it out, please go check that out and leave a like on the video if you do have time. It would be massively, massively appreciated. But I'm going to go with a 2-0 United lead. A win, sorry. United lead, get the pun. But yeah, no, I think United have to win this game. I think it's non-negotiable. I think, it's probably going to end up being a goal fest, and I'm probably going to end up looking like a right prat. We'll probably win like 4-3 or something, or lose 4-3 or something, or lose 3-2. It will probably be a goal fest because of our lackluster defense and Leeds' crazy results. Just for the sake of interest, let us go and have a look at Leeds' last 5 or so games, right? I know they had that freak result. Yeah, there it is. They won 5-2 against Newcastle, freak result. They lost 2-1 to West Ham, it is what it is. They lost 3-1 to Chelsea, it is what it is. They beat Everton 1-0. Nothing special about that. The 0-0 draw against Arsenal I felt like was a bit unfortunate. I feel like they were the better of the two sides, especially towards the end of the game. But you could argue that both teams deserve to win, if you are a deluded Arsenal fan, But we're not going to go there. They lost 4-1 to Crystal Palace. But then they did beat Aston Villa 3-0. And, with Leeds, all I can say is it's always one or the other way with Leeds. It's never in the middle. You either batter them or they batter you, Yeah, that's what it seems like from their results anyways. And so that would be my only concern with Leeds, is that they are relentless in their playing style and their pressing, and they are clearly a team that has a set way of playing. And I respect Bielsa for it, man. Like, he has a certain arrogance and confidence and swagger about him, and I mean that in the kindest way possible. Like, he does not care. He actually does not care if you know how he's going to play. He's going to play that way anyways, and he's not going to change it, which I like. Unlike our Tinkerman, who changes for every team. I wonder what formation we'll play this week. But anyways, moving on, West Brom, they got Big Sam, if I'm not mistaken. They hired Sam Allardyce and sacked their manager, which was crazy, That's crazy to me that somebody can get you promoted and then you sack them before Christmas. And look, I get that West Brom were low in the table, but come on, bro, it's the cutthroat nature of football sometimes is just so sad. And I feel like there'll be a lot of West Brom fans who feel disheartened by the fact that the manager who got them promoted is being throwing it in the mud so quickly. But I guess they have ambitions of being a stable Premier League club, and he's done his job, I guess. Now they've got a relegation specialist in Sam Allardyce, who has never been relegated in the Premier League. So Good to see him back in the Premier League. I think West Brom will win this one because of a new manager bounce. I think they'll win this one 2-1. Burnley versus Wolves. I actually don't have an opinion on that game, so we're going to skip it for the sake of not sitting on the fence. 3-1 to Wolves. But I actually don't have an opinion on that game. Chelsea versus West Ham. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. I think Chelsea are going to beat West Ham. But Chelsea are in a very strange situation at the moment. And I don't really know what is going on at Chelsea. I don't really know what the general consensus amongst Chelsea fans are. I speak to one Chelsea fan, and I know they're more of the level-headed type of Chelsea fan who doesn't really sit on one extreme side of the fence, more like Lampard is obviously inexperienced, he's obviously young, but at the same time, what he's accomplished and some of the positive signs of progress that he's had in the last 18 months is actually pretty decent. And if you had to ask me on my opinion on Chelsea very quickly, just not to make this video too long, look, I don't think they're going to win the league title this season. I didn't ever think they were going to win the league title, even after their massive summer. I think Kai Havertz and Timo Werner were good signings, but they've been brilliant in moments, and they haven't been at the level that people thought they would be. I thought Timo Werner and Kai Havertz were going to come and revolutionize Chelsea. They were going to come and take Chelsea from that inconsistent club to that consistent club. Straight up. Kind of like what Bruno was for United. But it just hasn't materialized. And that's partially because Werner's playing out on the left wing, probably. But it's also because of the fact that the team in general is just not meshing as well. But nevertheless, Chelsea is still a good side. I still think they'll comfortably make top 4. I think they'll beat West Ham 2-0. And yeah, that rounds up the weekend fixtures. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of your score predictions this weekend. What club do you support, and what do you think? What opinions do you have of some of the games today? Do not be shy. Otherwise, it's been TripleM bringing you another video, and peace out until our next engagement.